The concept of blue economy is increasingly becoming popular here in Nigeria. Everyone is talking about it. Many are also wondering what it actually means. Now, this new awakening among Nigerians is as a result of the creation of a new ministry by the Tinubu administration called Maritime and Blue Economy. But the fact is, maritime and blue economy has always been a part of our diverse sources of revenue generation, although not quite harnessed to its full potential. I mean, if you go to the different restaurants across the country, you will see a lot of menu, of course, with things like the fish, the seafoods. They're all from blue. Part of what we call blue economy. Now, the World Bank defined blue economy as sustainable use of ocean resources for economic growth, improved livelihoods and jobs while preserving the health of the ecosystem. But of course, the creation of the Blue Economy Ministry, many people believe that Nigeria has joined, the League of Countries which have committed to the blue economy concept. And hopefully this renewed commitment would help us to develop not just the economy, but of course through inland waterways, coastal shipping, revamp maritime logistics, and develop its fishery sector. Nigeria's coastline, stretching over hundreds of kilometers, and its strategic location in the Gulf of Guinea means that the country is sitting on enormous amount of untapped wealth. But it has to be adequately structured and, of course, enable us to achieve the objectives of the maritime and blue economy. Managing the dynamics of Nigeria's maritime and blue economy will be the focus of our conversation this week on Late Edition. I am Claire Adilabu Abdurrazak, and I thank you for joining us. Dr. Bashir Yusuf Jamo is the Director General of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA. He has well over 29 years of public service experience. Served in the Kaduna State Government before joining the National Maritime Authority, then in 1994, until his appointment as the Executive Director, Finance and Administration in NIMASA. He was the Assistant Director in NIMASA in charge of training and development. Now, Dr. Jamo holds a PhD in Logistics and Transport Management from the University of Port Harcourt. He has Master's degree in Management from the Korea Maritime and Ocean University in South Korea, Advanced Diploma in Management from the Bayero University in Kano. He also holds a professional certificate in materials management from the Institute of Logistics in the UK and a diploma in accounting from the Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. He has attended management courses at the, of course, Oxford University, UK, as well as Institute of Public Partnership in Washington, D.C., United States of America. He has he holds membership of several professional associations, and I just mentioned a few of them: Chartered Institute of Transport and Logistics, Chartered Institute of Administration of Nigeria, and Institute of Maritime Economists. That's in Canada. And my second guest is Air Vice Marshal Akugbe Yamu. He's of the Nigerian Defense Academy as a member of the 37th Regular Combatant Course in 1990. He's a renowned climate change and analysis expert. Air Vice Marshal Yamu has authored 2 prominent books on the environment. He's a fellow of several professional institutes, including Institute of Security Nigeria, Institute of Disaster Management of Nigeria, and Institute of Emergency Crisis and Risk Management. He's a recipient of various national and international awards, just a few of them: Best International Student with Distinction at the National Defense College of the Philippines. He's an outstanding leadership Meritorious Service Gold Awardee in 2018, and Icon of Excellence Disaster Managers Merit Award. His hobbies, policy and security analysis, climate change research, and he loves reading and, of course, golfing. He's presently the President, Environment Protection and Climate Change Practitioners. Gentlemen, I'd like to warmly welcome you to Late Edition this week.
Thank you very much.
Beautiful to be here.
Thank you. And let's begin with conceptual clarification. I mean, the concept of blue economy is not new. In 2012, the United Nations introduced it. We heard it for the first time. It's not as if it is also new here, but with the creation of the Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy now, everybody's talking about it. What really is blue economy? Let me start with Vice Marshal.
Yes, thank you very much for having me. Thank you, viewers. You see, blue economy, you have different types of economy. You have blue, you have green, you have brown, you have black. But what is of interest to us is the blue economy. The brown one is where everybody wants to run from now. That is the fossil fuel and whatever. Now, the blue economy is as old as mankind. As early as 1965, the then President of the United States, look, he said the next major problem of humanity is going to be water. Water is going to cause a whole lot of problems, and that is what we are saying now. Now, marine and blue economy, they are the same thing. Either you call it marine economy or you call it blue economy. They mean the same thing. They can be used interchangeably. Coming back here to Nigeria, if you look at the way we've been going, now if you have 854-kilometer shoreline, that makes you a very strong candidate. Like we were having as idea. Why now? Why did we wait for so long? And if you look at the blue economy, it doesn't have to do with shipping alone. It has to do with undersea cabling. It has to do with aquaculture. But what is also of importance here, notably, is the food security aspect and the energy. Now we are challenged with servicing our debt with a mega tax of 8% to GDP. We are more involved now with our export, which is oil, which is almost 90% and 50% coming as taxes. And again, you also look at our energy. We are hovering between 4,000 and 5,000 megawatts that for 200 million people. And the manufacturing sector, which is just 10% of the GDP, then we have a problem.
I want you to also, so that we break it real down for those who really don't understand this concept, to know what we're talking about, so that they can have tangible understanding of what we're talking about. You said it's been with us for a long time.
Yes.
I thought probably I dated it back to 2012 when UN came up with it. But what are the constituent parts that we can see, that the people can feel and understand?
Yes, blue economy involves everything within the ocean. Everything. The fish, everything, transportation, anything within the body of water that can be used for the economy while also preserving it. Biodiversity, animals, the water, shipping, aquaculture, everything. Everything in the sea. Sustainably. You know, when you say sustainable, you are talking of affordability, you are talking of availability, and you are talking of sustainability. So those are here. So you are talking of everything that is there, which is where, like I said, we are a very notable player in the blue economy, in the blue economy world. So if you have, like I said, 854 kilometer shoreline, you're already there. But in 1990, we took a back seat. We went back by when we decommissioned ourselves from the shipping line. Then we removed ourselves substantially from the blue economy. Because if you talk of blue economy now, a lot of people, they might go to shipping.
And also others go to fishing.
Others goes to fishing.
Yes,
but we're talking of the capital area of it. Fishing is good. Yeah. Fishing is good because if you look at it now, fishing is capable of bringing about $70 million to our economy. But
let me bring Dr. Jamo into the conversation, the initial conversation. And I remember in one of the interviews you granted to some of my colleagues, you said that Nigeria's future lies in the blue economy.
Yeah, indeed, clear. You know, as Airbus mentioned, blue economy has been with us for so many decades. And but unfortunately, this issue of oil made most sectors of the blue economy to go down. And at the end of the day, that's why the UN in Rio de Janeiro sat down and looked at the concept of the blue economy. If you look at the definition you just read about the World Bank definition, it mentioned about 4 key components: sustainability, economic promotion of economic growth, then social inclusion, that is improvement of livelihood, and then you discuss on the issue of preservation of ecosystem, and that is the area of specialization of your Vice Marshal. Now, if you look at what the World Bank defined, it also includes job creation. Blue economy can generate employment directly and indirectly worldwide, over 350 million. And at the end of the day, major part of our problems in this country, especially socio-economic issues, it has to do with youth restiveness because of poverty, which also is included in the main aim of the blue economy. Now, if you eradicate poverty, you remove the issue of employment generation through the blue economy, then the future of Nigeria certainly lies in that blue economy. So all we need to do now is to see what we are after as our own comparative advantage. We prioritize them, and we have intersectoral linkages. So that is now the challenge for the new ministry. We have been having it before now. The agency, when we went to Kenya in 2018, there was a World Conference on Blue Economy, and it's been championed by Kenyan government and Japan. So after that conference, we came up with the modalities of how Africa can harness and benefit from the blue economy. So in so doing, when we came back, we wrote to the presidency that this is the situation of things, and we made recommendation on how we can go about it. And sometimes in 2021, the then president approved that the vice president should chair the Blue Economy Committee, National Blue Economy Committee. Now, at our own level, at our own agency, we already developed the concept, the strategy, and the roadmap for harnessing such blue economy.
Yes, because I was going to ask, because there are agencies that are designated, to help harness the potential within, this ecosystem. And I know that the NIMASA is one of, it's a major stakeholder in this. So if we're saying that, did we just allow that sector, to be, I don't want to use the word lie dormant, but to be eclipsed by the oil and gas sector?
No.
Or was it just sheer lack of skills and knowledge?
No, the lack of skills and knowledge is one of it. We call it sea blindness. Most Nigerians cannot see and understand what is around the seas and ocean. Air Vice Marshal mentioned that whatever is around the sea and ocean is called blue economy. Clearly, it will interest you to know, among the species we have, over 2.2 million species in our own waters. We are yet to discover more than 90% of it. So, like the fish, shrimps, you said, it's just about 10% of what is being discovered among the species. So
why is that?
Because we have to concentrate more in understanding what the ocean is all about, what is around the oceans, what is inside the oceans, what is below the oceans. Also, the seabed, exploration. More than 90% also we are yet to discover. We do extract oil and gas from the ocean, but these are part of the blue economy. There are more and more resources under which we are yet to discover.
Just 10%. What about the aspects that we're even developing, like shipping, for instance, like fishing, for instance? Why aren't we, escalating progress or putting resources?
Well, you see, as mentioned earlier, in 1990, most of our own ships were extinct from the Nigerian National Shipping Line. And after that, we tried to create Nigerian Unity Line, and we couldn't succeed. The basic issue, it has to do with the management, corruption, and other vices that surrounds governance. Now, we got a new phenomenon in the sense that government have no business in conducting that. For instance, now, if you go to the British Airways in UK, it's just a national name attached to the British Airways, but most of the shares and ownership of the British Airways is owned by private individuals. So the ships that we have, or we intend to acquire, we can acquire it through public-private partnerships, and we own the ships. Now, the issues of fishing, in the last 10 years, we have over 50,000 fishing trawlers. Today, you cannot boast of 10% of what we used to have in the last 10 years. They are no longer there. And the reason is because of, issues of security, issue of safety, issue of finances, issue of technology. Most of the ships, fishing trawlers we were using at that time, they are no longer now visible. We have more sophisticated and technical issues.
Exactly.
So the issue of finances is also another issue that has to do. And then the government must create enabling environment for such businesses to flourish. Now,
yes, please go ahead.
Now with the creations of the ministry has been given now mandate to look into all these areas. For instance, I was with the Honorable Minister of for blue economy, marine and blue economy in the last 3 days. And he declared that his areas will look at safety, security, fishery, and marine tourism.
Good.
So if he picked these four items, if you look at President Tinubu's agenda, eight-point agenda, this constitutes 4 of the entire agenda formulated by this government. Now, if marine economy alone can take 4, then that suggests to answer the issue that everything revolves within the marine
ecosystem.
ecosystem.
Vice Marshal Iyamu, you've listened to the DG, and again, help us understand the resources that we stand to benefit and how we probably can upscale, revenue generation from, this sector.
Yes. Well, it's an enormous money spinner. My brother here, Bashi, has written a lot about it. I read one of his books that it's capable of generating 7 trillion or 40 million jobs. It's a $296 billion US economy. But for us to get there are obstacles. When I heard that the Ministry of Marine Economy was created, I was so excited. One, we are not going to be starting from ground zero. First of all, for us to actually maximize what we are going to do, we have to look at the ports. Yes, the turnaround of our ship here have to be faster. Now you have to develop those 5 ports. That is, you have to develop the Badagry port, the Ibom DC port, the Boni port, the Bini port, and the Ondo port. You have to develop those ones, because you have to create a turnaround for them to go back. And by 1990, like he said, a lot of people went out of shipping. That was in 2003. See, Obasanjo went back to the coastal line and inland law, which is called the cabotage law. No. What was this law? It was to give back again, to bring indigenous shippers back to come and operate in this environment, because we gave it to the foreigners. And again, too, he didn't stop there. He went into financing, what is called ship financing. That is, the 2% of the indigenous ship-going people was supposed to be used to as loan for Nigerians to do this shipping. But he went again to say that, look, the minister is at will to grant concession to most of all these foreign ship to be able to operate. But if we are going to maximize this now we now have a minister, we have to strengthen the NIMASA and Nigerian Institute for Oceanography and Marine Research. Those are the 2 key agencies that have to do that. And this concession have to actually be looked at.
I remember, just to add, I don't want to interrupt. I remember when I was growing up, in Lagos, I used to visit the oceanography,
Beautiful institution. Yes. Beautiful institution. And again, too, you see, it's a private sector. It's a private sector driven area. But again, too, if you are bringing in the private sector, you have to also develop the government agency to be able to give the best standard to it, so that we know as they are going to operate as per international standard. More critical is ship repair. They call it dry anchorages. So, see, we have to do that. Now, what is taking these people to Singapore, to South Africa, to the other countries? It's almost a 300 billion effort. We have to look at it. The ministry have to actually look at that particular area. And let me end with the fishing. The fishing. Now, you see, that on its own is a waiting $70 million US pot waiting for us to be harvested. But we have all manners of trawlers coming to poach our fish. What are we going to do with it? Like he said, we have to increase security. So, in a nutshell, the blue economy is the next gold mine. And that is why the ministry is very, very effective. Like I said, those 4 key areas, if you cascade them and you mainstream them, you find out that they fall into these areas that we have highlighted. So, but it is capital intensive. Like the World Bank said, the World Bank was advising Nigeria that you have to use all resources effectively and efficiently to bring about capital management and deployment of human resources. Those are going to be the challenge, and we must begin to face them.
You have just talked about challenges, and Dr. Jamo, you know, a lot of people just, when they heard new minister say, they have come again. This is just part of the process of bloating up, you know, government and costs and all that. Given the magnitude of structural issues, he has highlighted some of them, and of course the barriers, you know, to trade and all that. How can this ministry, how can they function? You've told us 4 key areas that the minister intends to take up. So let us even look at marine tourism.
Well, Claire, I am happy that you took the issue of marine tourism. If you travel to Dubai, you go to Marina, they will take you in a small shuttle inside their own ship. And before you know, you find the restaurants inside. In that restaurant, you begin to spend your own dollars. Before you enter the ship, you pay. You pay in dollar. They take you for a small shuttle. Then you, as you move in, you begin to see some attractive things, either for small shopping or for you to eat. You sit down in a restaurant as you eat, you pay more. And from there, you look at the number of people working in that one ship. The one that they serve you for the food, the one they cook the food, the one that supply the food, you know, we call it ship chandlers, you understand? And then to those who entertain. Do you understand? So if we can take a small shuttle only, here we have a water in Abuja. You look at it wasted, nothing on top of it. No short shuttle, no recreation, no infrastructures around.
Just waste, just like fallow.
Imagine, Claire, you just create a kind of hospitality industry looking at that water. Won't that hospitality industry become more valuable than the one it's just on top of soil like that?
Land.
So on land. So that's one. You go to Bar Beach, for instance, you go to Lagos. You find people hustling, enjoying themselves. And then we have entertainers moving around beating drums like beggars. They give them small talking. Organize them. Open offices for them with different type. What you listen, the type of music you like, I may not like it. What I like, he may not like. So you have a different nature of those entertainers. As you are coming to enjoy yourself, you go and book the type of entertainer you want. You pay the money. And when you pay the money, it's recorded. Government will get revenue from that. You have people giving you shed. And you are paying. Make it a standard internationally. When you make it standard, you collect the revenue. Government will enjoy the revenue there.
What do we need to make this happen?
It's just organization. That is what now the Ministry of Blue Economy needs to do. They will need to come with a policy. Do you understand? At the instance when we are starting, I made mention that intersectorial linkages. So who is now Ministry of Tourism, Culture and Tourism? They will have to come and align with the Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy. So, for instance, wind energy, you have to go to power. They will have to come and align with blue. So all of them, they will have to come and have interlinkages. When they have interlinkages, we develop policies, we develop legislations that will make these things to be more, realistic and sustainable.
I like the word realistic and sustainable, and that's to even make that happen. Like you said, there's need for a policy, sustainable policy, that will address issues in the long run. When we come back, we'll look at the issue of safety, because we also talked about safety, which is part of what, the 4 areas that the new ministry is taking up. Let's look at safety of our, the marine ecosystem and what NIMASA, has been able to do, because I know this is a key area of your mandate. So we'll just quickly take a short break. You're watching Late Edition, and we're looking at marine and blue economy. What does it mean? What can we make out of it, and what is the nexus of this? Or rather, how important is it to our diversification project? We'll be right back. Welcome back to Late Edition, and this week's focus is on marine and blue economy, and we have Vice Marshal Yamu, as well as the Director General of NIMASA, both gentlemen here with me, speaking to the issues. DG, we talked about safety, which is a component part of NIMASA. And just before we went on break, Vice Marshal was also talking about, the issue of safety and how NIMASA is hoping to harness, some body of waters in parts of the country that are, just lying, fallow, so to speak, and becoming places of criminal hideouts.
Well, Claire, I think it's not only NIMASA now. As I mentioned, intersectoral linkages must be looked into. For instance, now if you look at Jabi Lake, happy to see that the other side of the lake, the ShopRite, are making use of that place. Now it's time for the ministry to look at the other side. Is it a allocated land? If it's allocated, then something must be done on it. If it's not, then I think the government will have to create enabling environment for safety of that area, so that it will not constitute nuisance. And the lake must be put to use. That is where, the previous example I gave in terms of marina shuttles and other things like that. That is in Abuja, where you don't have even the sea. Now, when we go back to Lagos, the issue of safety and security, they work hand in hand. They are synonymous. Before dwelling on the safety, presence of inhabitants in location, coastal area, also reduce the level of risk that you have. For instance, you have your, coastline stretching from Badagry up to Bakassi at the end of Calabar. At the end of Calabar. So, take for instance, you have cities, the cities around those coastal waters. You make sure that you interlink those cities. It's just like from your house to another house. There's no space for a criminal to, intrude and come and attack. So you think of utilizations of the water even from Lagos up to Badagry, up to Benin Republic, up to Togo. You understand? If you asked a typical Nigerian, how many countries did you visit in your life? They will give you an array of countries For instance, some 15, some 20, but ask him how many countries did you visit in Africa? Close to zero. You introduce a ferry services from Lagos to Badagry, from Badagry to Benin Republic.
The Benin Republic?
Just a small 2-3 days holidays. You start from Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you come back. In that shuttle, you should have your own,
Excuse me.
kitted with accommodations, hotels accommodation that you can sleep at night. You have recreations club. You have hairdressing. You have pedicure and manicure in it. You have, sports that you can use. You just book, check in, book in, and you enter. You start your own shuttle from Lagos. You go to Badagry. From Badagry, you move to Benin Republic. You try to go across Africa. You learn a lot. So you can imagine the number of jobs that you can create. And the busy line, trench, will bring about security presence, like the minister mentioned. They will now have to enhance the security. Now, back to your questions on safety. The navigational area must be free from wrecks, must be free from seaweeds and other things that can obstruct the movement of those ships. And that's what we have been doing now. For the first time, we are doing the nationwide clearing of wrecks.
Okay.
The federal government approved it about a year ago. We divided it into 4 zones. Badagry to Tinkan Island, and then we have Lagos Paletoch area, and then we have Eastern Zone, which is Patakot, Paletoch area, and then we have Central Zone, which is Wari, Paletoch area. So we are removing all the wrecks. And the issue of debris, we also remove that one on yearly basis. It's an ongoing thing. It's something that you have to provide a budgetary provisions. You do your mapping, and you understand where are the concentrated areas. So this brings safety. Now, the issue of safety administration again, you think of Port and Flag State Administration. The ships that you are using, the one that you have, they have your own flag, and then the foreign vessels that are coming, we are enhancing constant checking in terms of port state and flag state controls, so that we can make sure that the issue of safety is being looked into. Now,
I would like you to, because safety, I know some time ago, I think maybe 2 years ago or thereabouts, the Integrated National Security and Waterways Protection Infrastructure, which of course we know as a Deep Blue project, was inaugurated, the MASA, to check, at least restore our waterways, the shorelines, reduce piracy and robbery. I would like you to talk about that when we come on, to tell us, what has been achieved so far. But let me bring in Air Vice Marshal Yamu into our conversation. Now, developing this ecosystem, developing this sector, for the minister to make impact, there's need again to collaborate with the littoral states. Some of these water bodies are within their domains. How can that be achieved?
Yes. First of all, the body that controls water in Nigeria is the federal government. You have to look at it like that. But the contiguous states, that's the littoral states, you have to take them, because most of the activities affecting the ocean are coming from them. And now this year, this 2023 has been the hottest in the world, hottest since mankind came. Now you have about 101 degree Fahrenheit. What has that done? It has created acidification, almost 30% of the ocean, and you are now having the weakening of the shell of the organisms that are staying in this ocean. So this problem that are there now are going to affect the economy of the electoral state, the contiguous state. So the federal government have to look at the laws. The law, they have to really tinker with the law so that these states can participate. Because when you say blue economy,
what part of the law do you think should be tinkered?
well, they are the massa. You see, it was canvassed that NIMASA should approach the National Assembly for most of these laws. You understand, that in the concurrent list and the exclusive legislative list to be open. Like Olisa Agbakoba said, you see, look, you have to actually look at particularly the fishing aspect, which he claimed that is up to 600 and 800 million dollars that will bring to the economy. So the laws are very important. And again, too, I want to go into the area like I was trying to land there. Ship repairs. Ship repair, this is an ecosystem of so many things. Yes. Like I will always emphasize that the blue economy was the Tinubu administration hitting the bull's eye because it's a massive job generator. That the ship repair, it's an ecosystem of, you have manufacturers, you have technicians, you have people that are doing standardization to make sure that everything is. Yes. So, you know, the dockyard is all over the world, is the biggest employer of labor. But if you must do this, when you tamper with the law, you also have, again, you must go back to that cabotage law. What did it say? What are we doing? What is the gap? What is the gap? The financing. You see, Nigerians must own the ship, and government must give them the enabling environment. That 2% that they say, okay, if you are going to the coastal land of Nigerians that you are contributing, I think before the last administration went, the $350 million, they started sharing it or something. I think somehow along the way, it stopped. So we have to go back there and empower these people and empower Nigerians, like it rightly analyzed, across and around the sea. We must bring in Nigerians at whatever level, at stratas. The ones that are going to be by the sea, the ones that are going to move a notch higher and all. Everybody will be involved. It can take over. It can take care of a lot of people. If we have 133 multidimensionally poor Nigerians, the blue economy can multiply that. If we actually, like the World Bank has told us that, we must, out of sincerity, because the word they always use there, in sincerity, effectiveness, and efficiency, we can develop the relevant manpower capability to be able to deal with that.
You talked about what government can do,
yes,
by way of tinkering with the existing law,
yes,
to empower states.
Yes.
But what about the states themselves? Don't they have a role? You may also respond to some of the issues that is raised.
Yeah, thank you very much, Claire. You know, the interesting things about this blue economy, you know, we started campaigning about it as far back as 2020, end of 2020. And we target from crude to blue. There are a number of interviews, a number of write-offs, a number of articles. Then I was publishing articles every week in Guardian. So we done that. The issue of this neutral state is that's what we started with. I visited all the 8 neutral states defined by the Supreme Court. And all the neutral states, I saw the governors one-on-one, because he will be the one to take final decisions. And we introduced the issue of the blue economy. What was our intent is for us to develop a roadmap, develop a strategy of harnessing and achieving this. For instance, Claire, the issue of gains and benefits of blue economy is not only restricted to federal government. Poverty alleviation is for every state to take up. And then the issue of job creation is for all states. For economic growth is for all states. Now, if, for instance, we can use the coastline of every state, you wonder what type of task the state will get. So it's not only the federal government, and in so doing, we ask the state, okay, give us your own areas of comparative advantage. We documented it. We have developed the roadmap. So now, what is left now is the implementation. We have reached that level. And then number two, the issue of ensuring that we maximize these gains and benefits. The type of manpower, professionalism to address this and make sure that we realize those gains is also one of the key areas. Now, in some states, we even get to the level where they say, okay, these are our areas of comparative advantage and we want to partner with you. For instance, the Bayelsa state government, they say we are interested in ship recycling. So when we remove the wrecks, we were selling the wrecks at a price to nothing because it cost so much money to remove the wrecks. You can imagine you have a ship sunk into the water as big as this building. Now, the crane you are going to rent for you to remove that wreck, even before you do that, you have to get divers. They have to go under the water, look at how the structure of that wreck is, and then sometimes they will have to cut it because you cannot remove it at once. So you have to cut it into pieces to make it easier for removing. And then by the time you bring it out, it has almost zero net value. So in so doing, we decided to say, oh, okay, we will no longer sell these wrecks. What we will do, we will have to build foundry where we can melt these wrecks. We produce iron. I will produce the iron. After producing it, we can use it for other things, building small ships, small crafts, and then use it for spare parts and other things like that. Now, in so doing, you can look at the blue economy on another phase. So for every phase of blue economy, you will realize that is an entity or a sector that can be of economic use. That alone, you look at national, what is the national consumptions or national needs for that particular sector. Then you go to regional. What if you want to expand to the regional? Then you now go to the regional, West and Central Africa. Then you now go to the continental, the Africa as a whole, the market, and then you go to the global, international. So when you go to the international, you are now expanding the frontier of government. You are now expanding the frontier of your own economy, not only nationally, but internationally. Now, you see the sector of blue economy is now moving to the foreign exchange source earner. As he mentioned the issue of ship repairs, we have almost 1,110 vessel average coming into our own territorial waters. 80% of these vessels belongs to foreigners. They repairs those vessels, they maintain the vessels, they bunker fuel, they buy food for their own for those who are manning the ships. Now each sector now, if you say you bunker, you have car. As you have car, you need to go to the filling station and buy fuel. If you have ship, where do you buy? Where do you bunker? Then you have to get a bunker. Or most of the oil, most of this ship, 1,110 vessels that enter into our territorial waters and leave, they repair their ships outside Nigeria.
Neighboring countries,
so foreign exchange,
it's
lost.
Yes.
Then they bunker oil. Where? Outside Nigeria. If, for instance, Warri refinery is specifically built to produce light fuel so that we can, supply the ships. If it's working, for instance, you can imagine the size of the economy.
Yes, I indeed. We just have a few time, unfortunately, just limited time again. But before I bring in Air Vice Marshal Yamu, I'd like for you to talk to us about the safety of the Nigerian waterways. I mean, it used to be reputed for, being the most unsafe, corridor in the Gulf of Guinea, and then came the Deep Blue Project and all that. And then I am aware that the number of piracy, the frequency of attacks, pirate attacks and robbery declined. But today, what can you tell us about that? Now that we have a ministry, that has been mandated to harness resources from marine ecosystem.
Well, thank you very much, Claire. The issue of